Good evening. The City Council and Local Redevelopment Authority Board meetings for the City of Riverbank is now in session. Today is Tuesday, March 26, 2024. It is 6 p.m. Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father God, we just want to take this time, first of all, to thank you for our great city of Riverbank, a city in the state of California, which happens to be one of the 50 states of the United States of America, one nation under God. And so, Lord, we truly want to thank you for this opportunity and the responsibility that we have in being a part of this community, Father, doing our part to make it the city that it is. I just pray tonight as we do our presentations and the business, Lord, that we would all just have that mindset that, Lord, that even though we may not agree on everything, that, Lord, in moving forward, God, we can continue to be who you called us to be. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe?
Here.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Here.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez?
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones Cruz?
Here.
Mayor O'Brien?
Here. There'll be no changes to the agenda. Any council or authority member or staff who has a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered, please state their conflict. Seeing none, we're going to go forward to presentation. And the first one will be with the Riverbank Youth Baseball Softball. And I'll meet the coach, Eddie. And anybody else you want to bring on? Any other the baseball? Come on, Dad, please. Please. I put them out of order on purpose. All right, first off, our youth softball, baseball, Eddie, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep it up and keep our youth engaged. I think it's most important that we do team building so we can all participate in the future. So the City of Riverbank Proclamation. Whereas youth sports are a means to promote and achieve the nation's health and well-being goals by creating physically fit youth, increasing social and emotional resilience, improving academic performance, and developing transformational leaders. And whereas now more than ever, young people need the power of active play to reap the many benefits of youth sports. Whereas all youth deserve the right to play and participate in sports in a diverse, equitable, inclusive, supportive, and safe environment led by trained coaches. And whereby Riverbank Youth Baseball Softball Association is a nonprofit organization that has been serving Riverbank and the surrounding areas since 1959. Whereas the Riverbank Youth Baseball Softball Association brings the quality of baseball, softball, and t-ball for the youth of Riverbank, where they promote positive sportsmanship and positive parent participation. And therefore, the City Council of the City of Riverbank urges all citizens to join in recognizing and commending the Riverbank Youth Baseball Softball Association and all other sports organizations in our area for providing their everyday contributions and commitment to improving the lives of the children and young adults in our community. Signed today. And I want to thank you, Eddie, for everything that you do, but not just Eddie. I want to thank all of you. And I didn't get to tell the boss you got the first one you didn't talk. So if I can get pictures on the like the council tomorrow now. Okay, we'll all right there.
All of us with our bad hips.
Okay. There we go. We get pictures of those right there. Thank you. Okay. All right, now before you go, Eddie, you have to say them, or you can have the kids say it.
Well, thank you, Riverbank, we appreciate it. I gotta get this build up. We're playing against each other tonight. We're gonna have to excuse ourselves, but thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, we're gonna have other people come on down. Is Damaris here? There you are. Come on over. Come on down. And you can bring whoever else you want to embarrass. All right, come around here. First off, I want the city council to know. This is Damaris Diaz. She is an outstanding young woman of Stanislaus County. And very impressive of what you have done and look forward to everything you're going to do. All right. So from the city of Riverbank, the city council, this is a certificate of recognition presented to you. Award winner of the 2024 Outstanding Young Women of Stanislaus County. The city council of the city of Riverbank hereby recognizes and congratulates Damaris Diaz for your exemplary contributions to the young women in the community and your individual achievements. Signed today, and I want to thank you very much. And if you will, we'll say a couple, address us for right now, and I'm sure that your principal might want to say a few things. So here you go. We're going to take pictures in a minute. So I'll let you speak first. Yes, of course.
I'd first like to thank my family, of course. Without them, I wouldn't be here where I'm at. They always support me, and they're here present today. My dad didn't go to work for being here, so I'm very grateful. And I also like to thank my friends and everyone else who has always just encouraged me to just keep going. And Superintendent Dr. Aguilar, I know you're back there. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to just give a voice to the people of my district, and I'm very grateful.
All right. So now we're going to do pictures, and if the council would like to come on down, we're going to stand behind the, you can stay down. Yes. And so you're a senior right now, right? So we're going to college. But you have options. Okay, keep the option. Very much. All right. So we'll just go on. All right. First off, the boys varsity soccer, where's the coach? Come on up. And where's your team? Come on down. All right, come on down. I want you all to come on down. This is,
Adrian, raise your hand. You're the goalie?
yeah, I think. So you brought the school with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes, and I like your teammates. All right. First off, I want to thank all of you for being here and congratulations on your achievements.
Yeah.
And This is a certificate of recognition, but you each have your own certificate that we'll have distributed at a later time. Okay, there's a certificate of recognition presented to the Riverbank High School Boy Varsity Soccer Team for the 2024 Tri-Valley League Champions for the outstanding sportsmanship and accomplishments. May it be a source of pride and motivation as the team continues to excel. Congratulations truly on your successes. Signed today. So you get to say something and, or you could pass it off to the team captain.
You wanna say something?
Come on down, you can do it.
I'll start and then I'll have him say
Okay,
something.
yes, please.
Just want to thank these group of young men for just believing in me as a coach, the parents that continue to support me each and every day. This is my 8th year as a head coach and first TVL championship as a coach. So I'm just thankful that these guys continue to believe in me and continue to put in the work each and every day. And most of this group is seniors, so we have a lot of work for the underclassmen that are left, but just excited what this group has in store for them in the future. And our team captain, Eric Verduzco, was named the TVL MVP. The first TVL MVP in Riverbank since 2009, and only the second in school history.
We've talked about like being TVL champions, like during practice, but nothing comes when you get everything you deserve or you earn. So we like worked really hard for during summer last year, and we've been working for a long time at practices, outside of practice, zero period. They added that for us, and it came true. I got TVL champs.
All right, so how do we want to do? I think I'm gonna go up behind you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody else stand tall.
Congratulations, you guys.
No, I appreciate it. You know, my father was the football coach for Riverbank in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I never had this success. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
All right, for the last one, we have the Riverbank girls varsity basketball team champion. And who do we have here? Come on up. Oh, come on.
You
Where-
have coaches Janelle
There you
Luke,
go.
Amy Felix, and Fred Berry representing.
All right, congratulations, congratulations. And coach? All right. You're gonna do all the talking, then you can just stand? I always got in trouble for the school for that. All right, well, first off, congratulations to all of you and coach. This is a certificate of recognition presented to the Riverbank High School Girls Varsity Basketball Team for the 2024 TVL champions. For the outstanding sportsmanship and accomplishments, may it be a source of pride and motivation as the team continues to excel. Congratulations on your successes and signed today. And again, good luck in the future, but you know, someone in Iowa is gonna have a little bit of trouble with you girls going on up. All right? Okay, so if you will, we'll take pictures in a minute, but yes, your floor.
Hello, thank you all for being here. As a graduate of Riverbank High School, bringing success to the program has meant the world to me. Being able to coach not only at my alma mater, but also coaching my younger sister has been an accomplishment of a lifetime. I like to thank Coach Amy for rocking with me for 6 years now, and Coach Barry, who's been by my side through it all. Also Dr. Aguilar for his support. He drove all the way to Colfax to watch us play, which is not an easy drive. And also Juan Harvey as our athletic director, who supports us and deals with me all the time. So again, thank you. Congratulations to our boys soccer, especially my students, Alex, Chema, Adrian, rock with you guys. But I'm just happy that we're able to be successful all as Bruins. So thank you.
Yes, yes, you do. Of course you do. No, because she's not telling how this team has grown. We played for the section championship last year. We were one game from playing for a state championship this year. We've been improved each year. Just wanted everybody to know that because she's not going to say that.
Yeah, we should.
Thank you.
And while we're taking pictures, I just want to mention how proud I am of all of these young athletes of Damaris and all of the wonderful things they have done. This is also my alma mater, so once a Bruin, always a Bruin.
The Bruins.
Hi.
Yeah, I did. All right, continuing on, we'll start with public comment. At this time, members of the public may comment on items not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of City Council LRA Board. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Time cannot be yielded under state law. Matters presented cannot be commented on or discussed. Public comment, please.
Good evening, council, staff, and citizens. I'm Milt Treeweiler. I was born in Stanislaus County and I lived in Stanislaus County all of my life. I brought a globe tonight, and this represents our world, our planet, and we are all live on this home. Earth is the same size it's always been for the last 10,000 years, last 100,000 years, and last 1 million years. Population growth on our planet has changed. In 1803, it's estimated there were 1 billion people. In 1945, when I was born, there were 2.5 billion. Today, there are 8+ billion people. In my lifetime of 78 years, our population has tripled. And 2060, 36 years from now, there will be 10 billion people. Every one of us needs clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and food to stay alive. The prime farmland in the proposed Riverwalk project is a natural resource that cannot be replaced or mitigated because its unique nature, its quality soils, its water availability, and its good climate. You can't find any farmland to replace it because there is no other farmland in the world like it. Because you are the city of Riverbank's council, you represent all the people of Riverbank, not just the developers and the builders. We must plan for the good of our descendants because they are not old enough to do it for themselves. We have to do what's best for them, just like our ancestors did for us. 130 years ago, our ancestors formed MID and TID to provide water to irrigate our farmland for hundreds and hundreds of years. We can build up instead of out. We can build high-rise apartment units and high-rise condominiums in the infill areas of Riverbank. There is also an abundance of poor soils in Stanislaus County for the developers to build houses on, like the areas west of I-5 and the areas east of Oakdale and northwest of Patterson. How is it that so many people worship money, power, and pleasure? My biggest disappointment with people is there are too many of them that are dishonest, untrustworthy, and unethical. My closing comments are, how can someone get control of you who are people that are honest, trustworthy, and ethical? There are three ways. They can try to bribe you, they can try to blackmail you, and they can try to intimidate you. Be strong, do the right thing. Save the Riverwalk farmland for our children. Vote no on the proposed Riverwalk project. Save this 2.4 square miles of prime farmland from destruction so our descendants will have food to eat. It is our responsibility to take care of our children. And the way we can do that is by saving our farmland. We're not getting any more farmland on this planet. And we have the best right here in Riverbank. I thank you for that, and I wish that you will please save our
Thank you.
farmland. Thank you.
Next, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, staff. My name is Rob Christensen, and I'm a resident at 6620 Olive Tree Lane here in Riverbank. I wanted to briefly talk tonight about the proposed Riverwalk project. I attended the community forum on February 27th, and I thank staff and council for hosting it. My purpose in speaking to you tonight is that I wanted to respond to one of the concerns that was expressed during the public comment portion of that meeting. In particular, water demand of the future development was brought up as a concern. And I think we can all agree that water should be a concern here in the Central Valley. But in response, I wanted to provide some additional background for consideration. The development of the project will, of course, create a demand for water, and that water will be supplied by groundwater wells. However, that demand will be offset by savings in groundwater use from agriculture that will be converted to development. Regarding the city's ability to provide a reliable groundwater supply, I'd like to point out that the EIR and supporting documents estimate an annual surplus of over 9,300 acre feet between the city's current reliable supply capacity and the expected demand in the year 2045. These figures are discussed in depth in section 3.14.2 of the EIR. See also table 3.14-11. We don't often use words like surplus when talking about water here in the valley. Still, the analysis in the EIR and supporting documents indicates that there is sufficient and reliable capacity to supply water for the project. I'll also briefly mention that section 3.9 of the EIR provides an in-depth discussion on the total available storage and annual recharge of the Modesto groundwater subbasin. The analysis in this section determines that the build-out demand of the entire city will be less than 0.2% of the total subbasin groundwater storage and less than 5% of the annual recharge volume, very small percentage. This further demonstrates that the project will have very little impact on the regional groundwater supply. Lastly, the project itself will also provide recharge to the groundwater basin through the infiltration of captured stormwater in drainage basins. In fact, the project will be required to retain and infiltrate a certain amount of rainfall volume in order to comply with the state permit for stormwater discharge. Again, here in the Central Valley, water should always be a concern. However, the analysis presented in the EIR and supporting documents clearly indicates that the project water demands can be reliably met and will not pose a significant impact on groundwater supplies. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, lovely council members, mayor. It's Olivia Rambo here. I own Timeless Real Estate here in Riverbank, and I am here tonight on behalf of the Riverbank Chamber of Commerce. We'd just like to invite you guys out to some more events we have coming up. We do have an event on April 8th. It's going to be held at Perco's at 5:30 in the evening. It's going to be 2 of our businesses are going to do ribbon cuttings. One of them is going to be celebrating her anniversary, which is Miss Lori Hooked on Bling for Nails, 5-year anniversary ribbon cutting. And then we have a new member to our Riverbank Chamber, Cam's Heating and Air, and they have a grand opening ribbon cutting that day. So if you guys like to come out that night to Perco's, there will be pie and ice cream and drinks Lori's providing. And then also we do have a Riverbank membership, Riverbank Chamber of Commerce membership drive that's going to occur at Perco's as well. And they are on April 23rd from 4 p.m. to 5:30. So if you're not a member, don't know he's a member, come out. Even if you are, everybody just come out and just have fun. We'll just go ahead and mingle and get some new members going and build our businesses strong here in Riverbank. We also have a multi-chamber mixer, which is going to be held in Modesto at the park at Modesto on April 4th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And that's just a combination of all of our local chambers of commerce coming out. So please come out to our events. We love it when you guys are there. You make it more fun, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
That's Monday, the 8th.
Monday, the 8th at 5:30 p.m. Thank you.
Please pass them to the clerk. Thank you. That's protocol here. All right, thank you very much. Any other public comment?
My name's Randy Richardson, and I'm 3126 Stanislaus Street. I just wanted to make mention that Love Riverbank is coming up April 27th. We'll be meeting at the Community Center Park at 8 a.m. And it's an opportunity for us as a community to come together to help clean up our city and pay attention to areas that don't get attention, throughout the year, but we'll get to do it together as a team. We'll provide everybody with a t-shirt and also purchase lunch for you, because one of the amazing things that happens is the Founders Fair is where we all gather at the end of the day, all the volunteers. And so they have food vendors. And so by coming out and volunteering, we'll get you a lunch, a t-shirt. And the best thing about it is just coming together as a community and getting to know other community members and working together to help beautify our city. And the way that you would register is loveriverbank.com. You'll go on and you can just look at the 5 projects that we have going, and you can figure out which one you want to participate with it and then sign up. It's filling up fast. We're expecting 200 people this year. We had just over 100 last year. And we just look forward to all of you. I know I look across the council and the mayor. Everyone was involved last year, and it was just a wonderful time. And we're looking forward again this year, April 27th, 8 a.m., Community Center Park.
Thank you, sir. No other public comment? Okay, I close public comment. Move on to the consent calendar, consisting of item 9.1. Waive reading. 9.2, approval of the City Council Local Redevelopment Authority Board minutes of March 12th, 2024. Item 9.3, acceptance of the Storm Basin Ramp Repair Project and the authorization to file a notice of completion. Item 9.4, resolution to award bid to the Patterson Road Sidewalk Project to United Pavement Maintenance, Inc., and authorize execution of future change order. Item 9.5, resolution continuing the approved River Cove River Access Closure Plan. Is there anyone wishing to comment on any of the consent items?
Yeah, I would like to pull 9.5 for further discussion. 9.5.
Okay, any others? Okay, can I have a motion on the other four?
I'll make a motion to approve items 9.1 to 9.4.
A second.
We have a motion to approve and a second on items 9.1 through 9.4. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones Cruz?
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 9.5, your concerns?
Could you, Marisa, tell us a little bit more about it and considering because this is annual, what we're doing right now, if there's a consideration for permanent closure?
Yes, so currently we bring this back to the city council to consider a closure on an annual basis for the high season. This would be a consideration for council to do that on permanently. So we would no longer have to come back to you to do that closure.
And I had a question. So if the, have you heard from the community that lives there? And if they have a concern, will they have the opportunity to bring back their concerns to the city council?
They do. So I know Michael has been in contact with the River Cove residents. There's a group of them that represent the majority of those that are out there. They expressed their support for our recommendation and did not express any concerns.
I had also asked some questions. You could tell us about it. You know, I had some concerns about it impacting the attendance or the visitation for Jacob Myers Park and just any negative impacts on that.
So there's no negative impacts of having the closure because it helps us to avoid the residents who were going, well, not even the residents there. It was folks from outside of the community accessing what we call the beach area whenever the river was low. And that was causing some significant safety issues, health concerns as well, because they would take barbecues down there, they would leave trash. And then, of course, there was just a large influx of outsiders coming into the community. And so those were the concerns that were expressed by the River Cove residents themselves, which led us to starting to do the closure during the high season. And so there's no impact necessarily to Jacob Myers Park itself because the folks at Jacob Myers Park cannot access that beach area from that side. So really it doesn't impact that.
Not only that, we've seen continued improvements in the natural environment of
Correct.
the area.
That's correct.
So if it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion to have that permanent closure for River Cove.
Not tonight, I don't believe. We'd have to bring that back as a separate agendized item.
No, I believe that's the recommendation for
For
tonight.
permanent?
Yes.
Okay.
Of the River Cove access area.
And I'll second it.
I have a motion to approve item 9.5 in a second.
I want one clarification. It's just for the high season.
Just for the
Permanently
high
closing it for just the high season.
Just for the high season, we don't find that there's any issue during any other time of the year because usually if it's a rainy season, that means that the river is high. You don't have folks that are actually visiting at that point in time because it's either fall, it's too cold, or it's winter and it's even colder.
Still need a roll call.
Yeah. Councilmember Uribe?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones Cruz?
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 10, public hearing. 10.1, a resolution to adopt the schedule of park amenity rentals, recreation programs, and facility rental fees for the city of Riverbank. Michael.
Good evening, council. I feel like we're making this a bi-weekly or a bi-monthly thing where I come and chat with you guys. So we are here to talk about some fee schedule updates for the Parks and Recreation Department. We've are entering our busy season, so there's a couple things we want to get addressed here. The fees that we're proposing to have an adjustment on are our pool passes for the individuals, pool pass for family of four, and Cheese and Wine Festival vendor fees for 2024. We currently don't have that in the schedule, so we'd like to get something in place here. So I would like to start out with the current fees we have. So for the pool pass per individual, It's $100, so a person can pay the city $100 to have a pass to where they can attend the pool whenever they want during the pool season. Then we have a pool pass for a family of four. It's $150. And then, as I mentioned, with the Cheese and Wine Festival for vendor fees, we don't have anything currently on the schedule. So we'll start with the pool fees. In 2023, we sold 0 individual passes and 3 family passes. The current pool fee is $3. So if you were an individual buying an individual pass to recoup your costs, you have to attend the pool 34 times. If you're a family of 4 and got the family pass, you have to attend the pool 13 times to recoup your costs. To give you kind of like a breakdown here, the pool season usually opens June 1st, closes around October 13th. That's 74 total days. And our hours are very limited with our recreation swim. So if you're an individual with a pool pass, you pretty much have to attend half the days available to make the money worth it yourself. And with the family of 4, having all 4 in attendance, it becomes very difficult to recoup those costs. So one of the things that we're looking at is how can we make it more economical for families to attend our pool, get that recreational programming in, and make it worth our time and costs to have these passes. So one of the things that we talked with staff about is lowering the fees so it makes it more economical for families, but also makes sense to even offer these pool passes. So as a Parks and Recreation Department, we're proposing for a pool pass for an individual be $30. That is 11 times to attend the pool to recoup your costs. And if for a family of 4, it's $100, which is slightly under 10 times to attend.
Michael, really quick before
Yes.
you move on, could you clarify on the pool pass for the family of 4? Previously, it was an additional $20 if there were additional family members.
That's correct.
Would this still be limited to a family of 4, or would it be open to any and all family members for that same price?
So our proposal is a family of 4 to be $100 and keep the original $20 per additional family member after that. So if you look at that, it's about $25 per person for the family of 4. If you're adding on, still a little bit of a discount there if you add on from there. Before we move on to cheese and wine, I want to give the opportunity to council to make any comments, suggestions, thoughts, jokes, anything you guys want to throw out there? No.
I know you have scholarships for people who cannot afford it. I would also suggest that because you have more than 4 members in a family, it's still a family, and that you may just want to keep that at $100. I know I came from a family of 14 kids, and we had our pool pass at JC, and it's the same thing. Not that there's so many O'Briens in the world, but there's other families that may balk at doing a family pass, having to pay more, or do you just select the 4 people you're going to?
So in the past, it has been selected of the 4. So if you have an additional, you get that addition. The reason why we have a kind of limit is you may have someone that may not be a family. I might say, hey, I'm gonna give a pass for all 10 of my buddies and I, and instead of paying $3 fee or the individual pass each ourselves, we'll kind of lump it in together. So the reason why we have that kind of lumping up family for is to mitigate things like that. We do understand that, you do have a big O'Brien family, that something like this would be beneficial, and that's the intent of it, but we want to protect ourselves that we don't have someone come in saying, we have a whole Riverbank for 200 volunteers. We're all gonna chip in for a family pass for all 200 volunteers, and we're kind of stuck right there.
Currently, to verify, would it just be like the residential address for the family of 4, or how do you guys verify?
So what we do is currently we have someone come in and they say, hey, I have Tommy, Lucy, mom and dad.
Yeah.
And, we don't verify it from there. So yeah, there are ways that people can get around it. We have seen so little passes sold to where we haven't experienced that. It might be something we may readdress next year when we come and say, hey, we countered this issue. Again, these are the policies that have been in place for previous years of have it set for a family of 4, and then any additional would be additional fee to that. Cheese and wine vendor fees. This is a fun topic that we're excited to talk to you guys about. So with these upcoming slides, we want to point out 3 different sections here. One are the vendor fees that were done in 2023, this past previous year. The other section is vendor fees that were proposed that were published in the Riverbank News earlier this month. And then since that time, staff, we've discussed amongst ourselves, we've talked with residents, talked with vendors, and we kind of are ready to, or wanted to propose a kind of different set fee that was published in the paper. We'll kind of talk a little bit about that here when we get to that point. So in the cheese and wine vendor fees for 2023, a retail booth space for 10 by 10 space was $325. Please note that this was a 2-day event. This year we are doing a 1-day event. Retail space for 10 by 20 was 500 feet. They broke it down with food. So if you sold a prepackaged food item, no fire, 10 by 10 was $300. Prepackaged food with no flame for 10 by 20 was $425. Then if you had open flame gas generator, 10 by 10 was $650. And then 10 by 20 was $800. And then if you had a food truck, was $800. I think the feedback we've received from residents and vendors last year and businesses was it's a little bit too pricey for a lot of the local businesses to participate in. So talking with staff when we first wanted to get this addressed, we wanted to focus on what the council's goals and missions were when we met back in January, February, talking about cheese and wine, where we want this to focus on residents, focus on the businesses, and support our local businesses. So what we had published in the newspaper was something that broke it down to where we want to give residents and local businesses a kind of a discounted rate. So in the newspaper, we published that a retail booth space for 10 by 10, if you were a local Riverbank business, was $100. If you were a non-resident, you won $50. 10 by 20 if you're a resident was $200. 10 by 20 if you're a non-resident was $300. Going to the food space, your 10 by 10 resident, $125, $200 for a non-resident. Then 10 by 20 for a resident, $250, $400, $375, $600 for the 10 by 30s. And then for Riverbank nonprofits, we're going to waive the fee. We talked with among staff, as mentioned, and figure out there's some parts where it looked a little bit pricey, where, for example, a 10 by 30 for a non-resident, $600 for a 1-day event. It's pretty much close in price to what we were looking at from the 2-day event from a year ago. And so talking with staff, again, talking with the vendors, we came up with a new proposal that we want, have council the opportunity to discuss, have the local residents come discuss as well. So here's the fees that we are proposing as a Parks and Recreation Department. We want to offer a retail space booth for 10 by 10 for $75. This is for resident and non-resident. A retail booth space for 10 by 20, $150. Retail booth space 10 by 30, $225. Food booth space 10 by 10, $125. Food booth space 10 by 20, $250. Food booth space 10 by 30, $375. Information booth 10 by 10, $25. Information booth 10 by 20, space $50. And then again, if you're Riverbank nonprofit located here in Riverbank, we'd waive the fee. So we kind of create a little chart here of everything that we have from 2023 to what was published in the paper to what we are currently wanting to propose to you. And yes, we can. I'm a fast talker too, Mayor, so I kind of got of both worlds there. But we'd love to have the opportunity to answer questions the council may have, and also with this being a public hearing, we'd love to hear feedback from community on these fees, and hopefully by the end of the night have something figured out to where we can move forward and start accepting applications.
Michael, while we're kind of looking at this and digesting it, can you kind of explain, so for like the food vendors, kind of the other fees and costs that go associated with that?
Yeah, so you may see food vendors are obviously a little bit pricier than the retail vendors, and that's because it's a little bit more work on our end. We have to make sure that they have the proper insurances, they have to think checked out with the health department. It's a lot more administrative work on our end. And then typically at times we might see a little bit more of a mess. Sometimes we have food vendors that leave more trash around, have more pickup that we have to do. So there's a little more work on our end with the food vendors than we do with crafts. So you may see a little bit of increased costs to offset those kind of works that we have to do.
For the food vendors, the city has to actually apply for a permit through the county, and so this will help to offset some of those costs.
And I was gonna ask for costs, since you opened that segue. What are your expected outlays and costs?
Yeah, so
Let's go all of it. Security, are we gonna have extra security? I don't think we need it if it's not gonna be a cheese and wine.
Well, Mayor, I think at this point in time, we will come back with a separate item with the city council to talk about those specific figures, to talk about what the department's plans are. We kind of wanted to focus today's conversation on the fees. We're not necessarily looking at cost recovery, obviously. So that has been the intent of the proposed fees and the significant reduction, not only because we're going from 1 day, 2 days to down to 1 day, but also from the feedback that we've received from the residents as well and the business
But you're
community.
putting out their unit pricing, is there some type of expectation for cost break to zero?
Yes, so.
While you're doing your analysis in future months from now, when we discuss it, let's see if because 20,000 a year is a little excessive for what we got out of it from your general fund, which you like to keep.
Yeah, so currently we are having those spreadsheets created and monitoring and collecting bids and quotes for all aspects of the expenditures and revenues that we're playing on here. We are incorporating these fees into it. One thing that we are trying to keep in mind too is the market rate for vendor fees. We do have a lot of events throughout the region that are 1 day events that we don't want to overprice ourselves, because then we say, well, why should I go to your event when I can go to others for cheaper? We're trying to keep that stuff in mind. So we don't want to overprice ourselves, but we also don't want to keep in mind that we don't want to operate at a loss. And so, yes, we are monitoring those things. And I think with Marisol mentioned perfectly, we are preparing ourselves to present to you guys shortly on what our plans are for this event, and look forward to having those kinds of discussions. But yes, we are carefully monitoring what our revenues and expenditures are for this event.
I know we have public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? Come on up, please. I'm right there with you.
Hi, my name's Lori Farrell. I have been a resident now since 2016, came from the Bay Area, fast moving, and I'm in love with Riverbank. So I'm so happy to be here. My business is also vendor generated. So I participated outside of Riverbank last year because the fees were so outrageous, and even for a 2-day event. And so I would have to sell a tremendous amount of call strips in order to make my money back from my vendor fees and et cetera. So I'm happy to hear, because I want to keep my business in Riverbank, and I don't want to go outside and entertain other people out there. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and also for the consideration that's coming our way. Thank you.
Mayor and council, we had one written comment submitted prior to the meeting tonight from Sammy Martinez. She states, "I'm reaching out as it is my understanding that the city council will be reviewing and voting on the fees for park amenity rentals, recreation programs, and facility rentals. My concern upon reviewing the fee schedule are the vendor's fees for the upcoming annual Riverbank Cheese and Wine event. My family has lived in Riverbank since the 1930s, and I grew up attending every year. I also administer the Riverbank Neighborhoods Facebook group, which has close to 6,000 members that are Riverbank residents. I am a small business owner who crafts handmade items and travels throughout California, selling at festivals, street fairs, and other established community events. I also oversee an Instagram networking group of over 50 vendors from across California who actively share our experiences and recommendations of events to apply to attend. Many of us, including myself, have wanted to participate in the Cheese and Wine Festival. However, the fees are too high and there is a lack of attendance and marketing of the event. That would severely impact our sales. Therefore, I and many other vendors choose to apply and attend other events in and around Riverbank instead. I am asking that the fee schedule for the Cheese and Wine be reviewed for changes. The majority of events have a tiered fee schedule based on the type of business: handmade, craft, nonprofit, direct sales, commercial, and food. Or they have a set fee for all vendors. I fear that if the current fee schedule is approved, It will severely impact this year's event, which based on the previous council meeting is a make or break event for future festivals. Many of the residents have voiced in the Riverbank Neighborhood Facebook group that there needs to be a focus on unique quality handcrafted items, not mass-produced cheap items found at the flea markets. To do this, we want to attract quality vendors with fees at an affordable price. My suggestion is to tier the prices as follows or have a flat fee for everyone set at 75. Nonprofit handmade crafts, prepackaged food, 75. Direct sales commercial, 100. Food, 125 to 150. I would also like to suggest the event be renamed and refocused to the Riverbank Fall Festival. I feel that the wine and cheese tasting is no longer a unique activity, as there are many wineries and tasting rooms within minutes of Riverbank. Instead, the money spent on the wine and cheese tasting sessions can be used towards funding other family inclusive activities. I appreciate you taking the time to read this and hope that you strongly consider reviewing and restructuring the fee schedule. This is a beloved event for our community, and many would love to see it revived to what it once was. Riverbank deserves to be the shining star it has the potential to be, and what better time than now, with new businesses and families establishing it as their own chosen place to thrive. That is all, Mayor.
That comment, I believe that the structure meets it at a 10 by 10 for $75 is what they're looking at. And I if they want a bigger space, they pay more, but I think it meets it.
Well, Michael, you guys have done an amazing job just kind of cleaning it up and simplifying it. Council asked for lower fees. You guys have absolutely produced that. The food trucks on the 2023 prices, where does that fall in the new?
So we're gonna do based on the 10 by 30, so based on your food truck size. So we have food trucks that are 10 by 20s, some that are a little bit bigger, 10 by 30s.
Got it.
So they'll fall within that kind of range right there.
Got you. Okay, perfect.
Mayor, this is an official public hearing, so you do need to close that.
I will. We're asking questions. Can we do that? Okay.
But
Is
no.
there anybody else for public comment? One more quick one.
Hello again, it's Olivia Rambula, Timeless Real Estate here in Riverbank, and I was here one of the nights that we spoke on our pricing. I do appreciate the change in prices, so I would just like to say I hope you do approve that. Sounds like it's a great plan. Michael put a lot of work into this, and we appreciate that everybody listened to what we had to say and brought it down, because we really want our Riverbank businesses to participate, so appreciate it. Thank you.
And there's no one on just Zoom?
Mayor, there is no one on Zoom wishing to speak.
All right. I close public hearing, bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion. Oh,
Just-
sorry.
Just a moment. Just as a follow-up with the added category of info booths, those were not originally published as part of the public notice. And so that specific fee, while you can consider it tonight, will have to come back for consideration once it's officially published.
So when we make our motion, do we include it or not include it? Don't include it. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve item 10.1, excluding the info booth information.
And I'll second.
We have a motion to approve excluding the info booth and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones Cruz?
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Item 11.1, new business, a resolution approving allocations of an additional community resource deputy and authorizing the city manager to request a community resource deputy position from the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office. Chief.
Friedenauer will provide the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So it's important as Riverbank grows that we're aware of public safety and we have strong public safety for our community. So with that, we're looking forward as Riverbank grows with Crossroads Rest and other housing elements around the community. And I wanted to make sure that we have the right size fit for the organization of the Sheriff's Office or Riverbank Police Services and the Sheriff's Deputy that fits our community. And with that is a community resource deputy, I believe, has been very valuable for our community. As you know, we have one now, and that person works strongly with our community, focusing on quality of life issues and finding long-term solutions for them. So looking forward to that, we want to have one more position, but the current wait time from the sheriff's office right now, if we order a position for the allocation, it was always the 1 to 2 year mark. Right now, I would say you're at least the 2 year mark, if not just a little bit beyond that. And that is because there's other cities that have asked for positions that need to be hired for and filled. There's vacancies in the organization that have to be filled as well. So we want to fall in line there and make sure that we have our name in that hat for as the time comes down the road. The other important part about the community resource deputy, it fits the model that's mandated by the state and also the sheriff's office for, alternative responses to crises in the community, like similar to like the sheriff's office response for our community response unit, where we have an EMT and a mental health clinician that goes out and deals with items in the community, right? So our community resource deputy has that same type of training and the resources available to get those. And they work very closely with our in-house individuals and county services, connecting those gaps. What I also think is very important about the community resource deputy, it's very flexible. So right now, that person is not working a patrol call where they have, a call for service they have to go handle and just do one to the next. Instead, they have time to slow down and find a longer term solution. But because they have this additional time, they routinely help us in various other things, like for traffic enforcement. If we're having a large traffic issue going on, they focus their attention to that. If we're having in-depth investigations, they assist our detectives with those types of investigations, organized retail theft, right? There's actually an operation going on that just this last week where he's coming in and helping with long-term investigations on that. So they're very flexible. I kind of call them like the Swiss Army knife of a deputy sheriff because they can do so many different things. So I think it's important that we get the allocation for the city manager to ask for that position. Basically, if we give that authority to her, she can ask the sheriff's office for that position. In turn, they'll go to the board of supervisors to get the position allocated for the sheriff's office, which in turn hires the hiring, recruiting, training, and so on of the position. So with that, we're looking for your support tonight to hopefully get allocation for a new community deputy position.
Any questions?
I had a question about recruitment. So is it, are you finding that people want to come to the Central Valley?
As far as hiring for law enforcement in general?
Yes.
Yeah, the sheriff's office has been doing very well with recruitment. People like our organization. They like our approach on law enforcement and the way that we treat our employees. Our wellness program is one of the most recognized ones in probably the country. We treat our employees, we put a lot of value into them and making sure that they're healthy and their lives are in order and we take care of them. So people come here and they feel the family need and they understand it. And they really like Riverbank too. When we're one of the better cities, I would say, out there, right? Because there's a lot going on in Riverbank and we treat our employees fairly and our community supports us.
And the junior academy that you have you had graduates that have joined our?
Yeah, so the Junior Police Academy we do every year, that's in normally around June, right? It's when the kids get out of school. So we've had kids that actually come into the Explorer program out of that. So they come in and learn a little bit about law enforcement, give them something else to do, learn how to do investigations and how we do our job. So it has helped as a recruiting tool as well.
Good, thank you.
No questions here, just a quick comment. So thank you for kind of going over this stuff a little bit more in depth, talking about the minimums on the schedules and how everything kind of affects that with like the training, the overtime call outs. You guys go through a lot and you guys have, as you broke it down, 2 on the days, 2 overnights, the swing, and you'd like to see that swing shift have at least a minimum of 2 there. So I think it's good that you're planning ahead for the future. We are growing. And I do want to see the service calls here are far better than I've seen in neighboring cities. So I definitely want to keep that going. So you definitely have my support for this. And then just putting this in, so we're in line. So we have Patterson putting their applications in, and so we want to be in line, make sure we're ahead of the game and staying and protecting our citizens here. So.
Yeah, I believe our community needs a high level of customer service, right? Quick response times. And we don't want to be one of the communities that say, file an online report. We actually show up to your door, someone steals something, right, that we're there to help you.
Right, because we do have neighboring cities, and this is happening today, and I know is if you have a theft, they won't even show up, or they'll show up 3 hours later. And that's happening every day.
It is. There is other cities that have taken that approach, and I don't think that's the right fit.
And I don't agree with it at all. And so I love the service calls that we're doing here. So.
I just had a quick comment. I appreciate the model of the community service officer And if you're not familiar with it, it's a pretty good model, and I'm glad to see that we have at least one and look forward to having another one in our community.
Get it, Randy. Was that you? Is that Randy? Randy timed that.
He did.
Timed that.
Any other comments? Anyone from the public wishing to comment? Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Mayor, there is no one on Zoom wishing to speak.
No one from the public here? I'll bring it back for consideration.
I make a motion that we accept item 11.1.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion to approve and a second on 11-1. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Item 11-2, strategic plan progress report and feedback for future strategic planning sessions. Maricela.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'd like to present to you a report on the progress that we've made on the 2022 to 2027 strategic plan. So once again, just for our residents who might not be familiar with the strategic plan, the City Council set forth a mission statement that states the mission of the City of Riverbank is to provide high-quality professional services and a safe, family-oriented community for our diverse residents to thrive. The vision, where we see ourselves in the future, is that the City of Riverbank is a regional leader in sustainable development, offering a unique, culturally diverse, safe, and welcoming community with a thriving downtown, recreational opportunities for all ages, and the sustainable economy that supports our growing population. There's some core values that the City Council has adopted as part of this strategic plan, which include integrity, collaboration, transparency, diversity, respect, customer service, innovation, and responsiveness. So there are 5-year goals that were established, and each goal provides an opportunity for different objectives to be set in order to meet those goals. As part of this progress report, I am only going to touch on those that we've made some progress on during the past 6 months. We did provide a progress report to council back in September of 2023. The full report with all of the progress on each of the objectives is included as part of our agenda. So one of the strategic plan goals that the City Council set is to ensure the city's continued financial stability. In order to achieve that goal, one of the ones that objectives we adopted was to review and update the master fee schedules and rate schedules on a regular basis. Tonight, the City Council approved a fee schedule for our Parks and Recreation Department. So you see that that is an ongoing item for the City of Riverbank. A 5-year rate study was approved for our sewer rates. And in the future, we may be looking at revising other rates associated with other city projects and services. Second, continue to seek local, regional, and federal grant opportunities to support city projects, programs, and initiatives, especially those that provide funding for diversity and equity. So earlier this year, Michael in our Parks and Recreation Department submitted a grant application to the National Park Service to assist with an update to the master plan for Jacob Myers Park. And in addition, Michael also put together a list of projects that was submitted to Senator Alvarado Gil's call for projects. Although we have not heard back on both of those submittals, you see that we continue to work towards looking at being able to provide programs and updates to some of our facilities by using other people's money. Yes. The third, explore the use of renewable energy for city operations and vehicles. One of our projects that we've been working on, thank you to the funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, is the installation of solar projects throughout the city. I'm pleased to announce that both the Sheriff's Department and the Community Center, and I believe the one at Wharton Well, have officially gone live. The last one that we will be working on is the one at the wastewater treatment plant. That one is going to take a slightly longer time to complete because we are working with San Joaquin County, who has a couple of different regulations we weren't quite ready for. So that one is currently in progress. The second strategic plan goal is to improve public safety. First objective is to ensure adequate funding for appropriate levels of staffing for law enforcement and fire department personnel. Tonight, you did give us authority to be able to request a new position. With that will come funding when that position is going to be filled. And so I applaud the city council's foresight in making those commitments to our community and ensuring that we improve our public safety to them. The second is to continue to support enhancements for safe routes to school. Just recently, we completed the Claus Road Sidewalk Project, and then the Topeka project along between off of 108 also included ADA sidewalk projects. We do have students that walk to the Riverbank Language Academy, and so some of those improvements definitely benefited them.
And the crosswalk on Squire Wells?
And the crosswalk on Squire Wells. And future improvements to come that are currently being engineered. Third objective or strategic plan goal is improve historic downtown with an objective to support efforts that promote beautification of the physical environment, including public art. Of course, just recently, our Riverbank Historical Society completed their mural that was on one of our downtown businesses. Their unveiling was held in February, and that mural was actually funded with the nonprofit support program funding that the city of Riverbank provided to them. So in a roundabout way, we did participate in that mural. Second, coordinate efforts with the Chamber of Commerce, Opportunity Stanislaus, to identify opportunities for development. We've been doing a wonderful job of coordinating workshops for our businesses, not just the ones located here in downtown. So we have provided a few trainings for them, one which will actually be held tomorrow night in coordination with Workforce Development and the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce. It is a Business 101 class if anybody's interested. And of course, working with Opportunity Stanislaus on a tenant that's interested in locating at the Riverbank Industrial Complex. And thank you to Jarrett with Amenity for helping to facilitate those discussions as well. The third, support community events produced by local nonprofit agencies. Just recently, a fee waiver was approved for the Historical Society's annual breakfast that is going to be held. And so those are the types of support that the city of Riverbank is always willing to offer to our local nonprofits in order to help them thrive as well. Next goal, improve internal and external communication, proactively communicate news about the city to residents, businesses, and surrounding communities. That is an ongoing project. We are definitely more active on our social media when it comes to that, ensuring that we are sending information out to our residents about upcoming events. The new plan or the event schedule, sorry, I don't know why I can't think. The activity guide, there you go. That was what I was looking for. The activity guide for recreation has now been issued for our spring and summer. So please, you can locate that online, or I think we do have copies here in the offices as well for residents to be able to pick up. And then second, ensure appropriate linguistic translation of the materials to engage the city's Hispanic population. We are making absolutely every effort to ensure that information that goes out is translated into Spanish. And just recently, we completed the Riverwalk specific plan and the draft EIR translation, which are both posted online. Encourage employee development is also a goal for the city of Riverbank. So we did have conduct review of city's management tools, including GIS. We currently are exploring contracts with different firms to enhance our GIS services. Those provide valuable information to those that are looking to locate businesses within the city of Riverbank, as they can look up zoning, but provide a valuable tool internally for staff, as a lot of those GIS information includes base layers with water line information, sewer line information, storm line information that helps us as we're preparing for projects that we're going to work on that include changes to our infrastructure. Second is research the feasibility of a new city hall to accommodate current and future needs. So we are looking to explore the reuse of existing city locations, and we'll bring that back to City Council for consideration at a later point in time. Promote sustainable development. So one of those objectives to do that is the housing element update. You did receive a presentation regarding what that update entails at the last city council meeting. So we hope that as information is being sent to residents, we are looking at sending out a survey to them as part of this update, and holding some community workshops that our residents come out to participate. And then second, complete high-value specific plans such as the Riverwalk EIR, which has been posted and available for review since January. And that public comment period will end on May 6th. And then support economic development that promotes job housing balance. So we do have an objective to complete the Crossroads West development. Of course, Costco is under construction, so we're extremely excited to be able to have that coming into our community. And then the second, complete the conveyance of the Army property to the city of Riverbank. Of course, we are continuing to work with the Army to ensure the timely conveyance of that, although timely has meant that we've been working on it for over 10 years, so that is ongoing. And then the last is to enhance the quality of life by engaging our community partners and nonprofits in the development of programs, facilities, transitional housing, and/or solutions for homeless services. We were all extremely happy the day that we did the ribbon cutting for our day use facility. The Sierra House, which is almost complete with its rehabilitation, will be looking to have that project accepted by the city council in April, which will allow residents to start to move in shortly thereafter once it's fully furnished. And then the negotiations for the Jackson Stanislaus Tiny Home Village project are underway, and you did receive a presentation regarding that from the developers themselves regarding some proposed developments. We're continuing to work on that and hope to bring that soon to the city council. With that, I would like to discuss with the city council the strategic plan and a possible update to that plan. As I mentioned earlier, this plan was developed as a 5-year plan. What is difficult with a plan such as this is that it does not provide me and your staff a way to prioritize those projects. So in my eyes, each one of those objectives has as much priority as the other, but it becomes difficult to be able to work on them all simultaneously because there's really no timeline developed into them. Second, there's really no way to measure how successful we've been other than me telling you it's done. And so hopefully that's enough for you. I would like for you to be able to have a way to say, we've asked you to complete this within the past year. How many of those were completed? Were they on a timely basis, et cetera, so that we can actually measure what that success looks like. So with that, the past 2 strategic plans, we had one developed in 2019, which was a strategic plan that was supposed to go from 2020 through 2025. We then did a 2-year update, which meant that we extended the strategic plan to go from 2022 to 2027. So we have been updating our strategic plans every 2 years, which means we should have done one last year. But based on the fact that it is a 5-year plan, I'm not sure that it made sense for me, at least last year, to say it's time for an update when we haven't had an opportunity to actually work through the entire 5-year plan. There have been some changes with the city council with Councilmember Jones Cruz coming on board. And she did come after we had just completed a strategic plan. But we know that each of you as council members represent very different districts within the city, very different needs within those districts. And so we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have a voice in the objectives that are necessary to meet your specific district's needs, whether that be public safety, whether that be ways to enhance their qualities of life. We want to make sure that everybody has an equal voice to do that. So what I've done is I did send out a request for proposals to a variety of firms that offer strategic plan updates. I did receive 2 proposals, which are at very different extremes of what we can do for a strategic plan update. So I wanted to provide council with an opportunity to see what the scope of work was that was prepared by each of the 2 firms. Provide me some feedback on whether you feel like the city council is ready to proceed with the strategic plan update, whether it may be time to wait, or whether you might want me to go back out and look at different firms that might provide for a different pathway to be able to update the strategic plan. Or maybe you're happy as is, and then I just continue along with our 5-year plan. Or another option, which I've just named off a whole bunch, is that we have elections this year. So there may be the possibility that we will have new council members coming on board as well, who may also want a voice and an opportunity to participate as part of this strategic plan update process as well. It has been our past practice that new council members take seat in December, which is not too far from now. So that may also be an option that you just want to delay. And then at that point in time, we can have a more concerted discussion about moving forward. But should council feel like we're ready to do so, here's the 2 different objectives. So just a little bit of background. The current strategic plan was adopted in August of 21. The changes that have occurred, changes in priorities, new council members. Current plan does not prioritize projects for the 5-year period or provide a method to measure success. So the first scope of work that I received was a proposal from a firm that we have used in the past. They prepared our past 2 strategic plans. So they've got a much more concise process that they would like to undertake, which would only take about 1 or 2 months. They'd start off with kickoff meetings with the city manager and the mayor. They would review our materials and background information, do an audit of everything that we have done, send out surveys to staff regarding priorities and projects that we are working on, and then do individual interviews with the mayor, each of the city council members, and key staff. It would include the preparation of a SWOT analysis, which is our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. They would then hold our strategic planning workshop, which is something similar to what we've done in the past, open to the public. And so they would facilitate that. They would then draft the plan, bring that to city council for consideration, and then put together the final plan. As I mentioned, that is for them a 1 to 2 month process at an approximate cost of $17,000. Now, the second one is a lot more robust, which is why I mentioned they're at extremes. So the second one is a 5 to 6 month process compared to the 1 to 2 in the previous one. Once again, they would coordinate the entire process. This would be a new firm that would come in. So obviously there is some fact finding that they would need to do, but it does include stakeholder engagement. They would look at all of our relevant documents similar to the other firm They would have an initial orientation session with city leadership, which is the city council and staff. They would do the needs assessment and environmental scan, which is similar to the SWOT analysis that the previous firm would also do. They would do community outreach with the public and with stakeholders, which include our nonprofit organizations and our small businesses. Of course, they would facilitate different planning sessions. They do have within their proposal approximately 3 to 4 planning sessions where we focus on developing priorities, developing strategies to meet those priorities and those performance metrics that I mentioned were missing in our current strategic plan. They would then draft the plan, bring that to council and to staff for feedback before presenting for final adoption. That does come because it is a more extended timeline because it does involve multiple opportunities for planning sessions to occur amongst the city council and the staff and provide opportunities for residents and stakeholders to provide feedback. The cost increases to $65,000. So with that, staff requests feedback from council on the preferred scope of work, if any, for a strategic plan update. Like I mentioned, city council has certainly the purview to just continue with the current strategic plan. And once we feel like we are ready for an update, we can come back and revisit this. Or if we are ready to proceed with one of the 2 proposals, the first one will take approximately 2 months. So we would be looking at holding a strategic planning session possibly in the summertime. The second one, because it is 5 to 6 months and there's a lot of background work that needs to get completed first, would probably be towards the end of the year, beginning of 2024. I'm available for any questions that you might have.
I was gonna say, I think $65,000 is a lot of money. And well, I see that it has many layers of getting to our strategic plan. And that's probably why it costs so much. However, I just don't see us spending that kind of money. I mean, the strategic plan is important to us and we do need to do it and we do need to have it. So if there's any way that we could look at something kind of like that's in between that will have both of the programs. So I don't know. I just would like to see something maybe a little bit more, but I also think that since it is election times, that I think that we kind of like need to wait to see what our new council folks might want to say or have to say or see. But to me, I don't want to go with either one of them, but something in between. Thank you.
I'm in agreement with Councilmember Darlene Barber Martinez. I think it's kind of hard. We should prioritize, but the financial stability, public safety, downtown, communications, all of it's important, right? So how do we prioritize it? We're only 2 years in on a 5-year cycle. We've all had an opportunity, with the exception of Leanne Cruz, but she will be here after this election cycle. So I think it's prudent that we hold off until January 2025, bring this back forward, because we don't know what the council is going to look like then. So. And I think you guys have been doing an amazing job. I know we throw so much at you guys and you guys hate us for everything we put you through, but we do it out of love and we do it because we're passionate for this. So we appreciate every department for putting up with us. And we will work on being a little bit more, as the plan says, strategic, prioritizes stuff a little bit better for you guys. So I say let's wait January 2025.
All right. Being the new one on here, I am completely going a different direction with this. I feel like, yes, we do have elections, but I've been on this council for almost a year and it'll be half the summer. And I had nothing to do with any strategic planning. I think strategic planning does a couple things for us. One, it gets us going down the track that we need to go. It gives us some focus. Having a 5-year plan, if you're setting goals, you need to have short-term goals. You need to have medium-term goals and you need to have some long-term goals. Right now, I see a 5-year plan and I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of with what Marticela said was, where do we get to that 5-year plan? Where are our beginning goals? And I don't know, I'm just a little frustrated with the situation, and I think I would like to see something kind of in between these two. I don't think the $17,000 is going to cut it for me. And it's just kind of going on with the status quo where we're at. And I'm not all right with that. I really am not. And if we're going to get someone else new on here, we should be meeting at least once or twice a year to be looking at it and focusing on our strategic plan. I think our strategic plan drives everything that we do as a city. And I don't feel like we're quite heading down that path. And I think strategic planning for us, coming from being on a council several years ago when our strategic plan really drove everything that we did, I just felt like it included everybody, included all the stakeholders, included all the department heads, and we all came together as a group. I'm not all right with meeting individually with the 65,000. I would really, really like to see something kind of in the middle. I would like to see a little bit of the firm on one end and a little bit of the other end, but I think we can kind of pare it down and find something in the middle that we can all kind of agree upon. I really feel strongly about the strategic planning, and I feel like sometimes it's a little disenfranchised, and that's just my own personal take on it right now. And I have some frustrations with that. So I really feel like for me personally, I want to see the strategic plan kind of in place because it gives me something to like, here we go and plan. I'm real visual and very linear, and I need that. And having a 5-year strategic plan feels so out there. And if you can't tell, being the new one on here, I feel lost sometimes. And especially if we're getting someone else on board, I think we need to do this before they get there so that they can do this. And we need to do it way more often. I think we need to meet as a group and do the strategic plan way more often than we're doing it right now. So that's my own 2 cents. Thank you.
So I agree with you completely. I think when we did the update, it was 2021, and I was only a few months in on council, and I'd have to say I feel more prepared to go in depth with the second proposal to set, KPIs, to set timelines, things like the downtown being prioritized, but also City Hall at the same time, I think kind of left us, at a, tug and pull on how we're going to prioritize that. And if we get on the same page, even if we don't agree, we can get on the same page to be able to do that. So I agree, it's a lot of money, but I feel it's worth the investment for, different individuals to get on the same page.
I feel that we should wait until the new council sits because it's going to be totally different. I think that that would give them the direction. I believe we should meet as a group, looking at what we have here and give you what are our priorities. Because you're right, there's 55 priorities, all equal. But, what should be the priority? For me, I thought it was safety of the staff for a new city hall, but we now have a new direction of where, instead of that, it has to be in a certain location. So I think we have to sit down again, but amongst ourselves, you leading it and with your staff. I know it's going to be a pain, but it's better than having a third party coming on out to try and organize what we have here. And we could go and take a look at what are our priorities and how we go move forward until next year when you have a new council. That's my opinion on that. I still think these are some very good goals, but I think there's some that are very non-distinct. Talk about mental health with the sheriff's department. Well, that's ongoing. That's his department, and we are a product of it. Is that a goal for us, or is that a goal for him to achieve and bring it back to us? So I think these are areas that we have to take a look at. I know the downtown is extremely important, we need to come up with some type of focus down there. I believe that in the near future, we'll have that. So again, I'm not pushing anybody aside. I know it's very important. It was very important when our first one.
So if we wait
came
till
up.
the next one, it'll be 2 years that you guys have met.
Right?
It'll be 2 years.
No, if we go next year after the city council.
I have not attended. I have not attended or been part of any kind of strategic plan since I've been elected.
I also add one more thing. So I think it's important we have a third party do this because it's not just council, but it is staff, it is public, it is different stakeholders that need to provide input for the strategic plan. And so I feel pretty committed to doing proposal 2 this year.
I do have one issue with the second proposal and the stakeholders. The stakeholders are our community, and I feel like our community has plenty of opportunity. And I think that might be one piece where we can pare down on it, because we have the Budget Advisory Committee, we have the new Jacob Myers Committee that we're setting up now. We've got Planning Commission. We have several different opportunities for community engagement. And we kind of have a hard time getting community engagement out for those. So that might be one area that we can ask that consultant to kind of pare down on and might take down on some of the costs on that particular piece of it. I think if I'm correct, Marisol, and maybe you can give us some insight on that, that 65 isn't a firm number. Do we have an option to kind of rein them in a little bit and, take some things off of the table and not do something that's so robust, but use them? Is that an option?
Everything's an option, I'm sure, with a firm that would be wanting to engage with the city and look at something long-term. So I can certainly have those discussions with them. Tonight, this is the feedback that I want to be able to take back to them and say, hey, this is what city council's looking at. Maybe you need to modify your scope of work a bit. Why don't I give them both an opportunity to do so? And maybe we do come up with something that's kind of a happy medium, and then council can decide from there.
Because I do think that 65 grand's an awful lot of money.
Okay. A strategic plan, I understand that you haven't been to the strategic plan. Usually your plan is a 5-year plan. So you have a 5-year plan. Are you thinking of having a strategic plan?
Why are we not meeting as a council and department heads on an annual or a biannual or twice a year basis to work on the strategic plan, to work on those short-term goals, those medium-term goals and the long-term goals? That's just that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, that's not a new strategic plan. That is working on the current one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with
All
it.
right.
Thank you for helping me clarify that. So if
Now
it
I'm
wasn't,
clear. Now I'm clear.
if it wasn't clear, I just feel like I don't know that we need to revamp the whole dang thing. I just think we need to meet more often and maybe, prioritize and kind of focus on where we're going. I really feel strongly about, like I said, the short-term, medium-term and long-term goals. And not necessarily revamping the whole thing, but taking what we have and at least meeting more often and having some more input on it. I just think it's really useful to have even the department heads for all the city there too. So, when we come up with these crazy ideas for them and we go, is this really doable? And they're going, sure, we can get that done in 2 weeks. We'd love to. But you know where I'm going with
I know where you're going.
Okay.
So maybe what we do is we take a step back and we come back with that consideration in mind of looking at our current strategic plan. What we can do is sort of develop a list of everything that's done so that you're no longer, you either tell us, okay, yes, you have satisfied enough of the intent of that objective that we can remove it from, further consideration. Look at those that we have not yet achieved and allow the city council an opportunity to prioritize those and develop those short-term, long-term objectives with the feedback from staff, of course, where we let you know, yes, I can achieve this one within the next year or this one within the next 6 months. and kind of categorize them for you.
And at the same time, we'll have the, as much as we possibly can, public input. But we've always asked the public, and a few times we've had people show up, get the breakfast, and then leave. I'm serious.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be an all-day strategic plan session. It's maybe I take an opportunity when perhaps agenda's a little light and we can have, you know, a longer discussion, and be able to walk through each one. Meanwhile, also requesting some updated quotes from,
Please.
just for informational purposes and budgeting purposes.
I think that we also need to talk about our accomplishments, and it's just good to hear the things that we have achieved, the things that, our staff has, worked to put everything into it and make sure that it did happen for us. And I just think we need to celebrate that too.
Mayor, we do have public
I
comment.
know, I'm going to go out there. All right? Before I open it to the public, any additional comments? Or you can bring them when I bring it back. All right, this is public. Any public comments?
We have one on Zoom.
Anyone from here first? All right, go ahead.
Number ending in 3108. Can you unmute? The number ending in 3108. Can you please unmute? Can you please unmute, Ms. Albert?
It is *6 to unmute.
All right.
Oh. Ms. Halbert, if you can hear us, can you press *1, what is it?
Or 6.
*6 to unmute?
Okay.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Ms. Halbert? Maybe we can't hear her.
Okay. Well, the way that we're having it structured, we will have plenty of opportunities for the public input and comments. So she can put that either in writing or, and do an additional attempt. So I'm bringing it back to council. I believe, Mayor Stella, could you concisely paraphrase what we're doing? Because I know there's a couple people that are confused.
So we are going to bring back an item where we are going to review all of the strategic plan objectives that have been completed, as Councilmember Barbara Martinez said, so that we can celebrate our accomplishments, but then prioritize those with established timelines that have not been completed. We will then revisit the proposals that we received from the two firms to look at a future strategic plan update that would involve all of the council, including any new council members we may receive as part of the November elections. So we would come back with both firms if they're willing and able to kind of pare them down, or maybe the one who's at 17,000 might be able to add some options and bring,
No, sorry.
that would bring their cost down.
So of the 50+ items that we all have on here, as we're reviewing them, do we have the opportunity then to remove some of them?
Oh, certainly. If
Okay,
there are any
perfect.
objectives on there that you feel you may not want to move forward with, then we can certainly do that at that point.
Thank you.
And there's some that are, did I step on you?
No.
Okay, there are some that maintain a minimum 10% reserve. That is something we've always been trying to do. That doesn't need to be continuing. We just have to observe that. And the other one is follow procedures and policies. Yes, we should. So we can eliminate some of these right off the bat and just concentrate on what's truly is these strategic portions. And some of them I would have liked to have seen happen, but we'll see what happens with those. And again, the downtown is, we're not going to neglect the downtown, but we have, how do we, using the KPIs or others, how can we, start revitalizing the businesses that are already down here? And we've had that discussion. We'll open that up again. Any more comments before I bring it back? Do we have to vote on this, or is it just guidance?
This was just guidance and feedback.
Any more guidance and feedback? Okay. Let me go back to the agenda. All right. Thank you on that one. We're gonna continue on with 12-1 staff comments.
I have only one comment tonight. The city has launched 2 new portals that will provide access to city records, both of which are accessible via the city clerk's webpage on the city's website. This goes towards achieving the city's core value of being transparent. So the first is our online public records request portal called Next Request. It allows residents to submit their request online and immediately notifies the city clerk that a request has been received. It ensures that staff that is associated with providing the information that's being requested does so on a timely basis, because it sends us some very annoying emails all the time, so. Thank you, Gabby. The second is we now have our Laserfish link, which allows residents to search electronic records such as previously adopted city council and planning commission ordinances, resolutions, past agendas, minutes on their own without requiring a records request to be submitted. And so those, as I mentioned, are both accessible via our website. And that is all from staff tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hernandez.
So Councilmember Barbara Martinez and I just got back from Burbank for the Cal Cities policy gathering. So as a reminder, Cal Cities is a collaboration of over 480 cities from across the state, and Riverbank is a member, where we're able to advocate at the state level and with each other as fellow elected officials to be able to prioritize general priorities. So I sit on the Community Services Policy Committee as a vice chair, so I was able to co-facilitate a meeting this last week about things like homelessness, mental health, policy. Right now, the state legislature has proposed some policy at that state level. And one of the things that we focused on is homelessness encampments, and a bill that potentially penalizes encampments near public spaces like city halls. It was a good conversation, different opinions, and as a committee, we decided to not take a position on it and to give recommendations around other ways to address encampments rather than criminalizing them. So there's more to come with that. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Riverbank.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've been doing a little outreach to some small businesses here locally, just in the hopes of kind of just touching base with them, seeking feedback as on how we as a city can just be more supportive. I had a meeting with the SPDC today. Thank you, the mayor and Maricela, for joining me on that meeting. Very informative. Herman shared a lot of great ideas, super informative. Looking forward to all these initiatives that he's going to try to push and hopefully bring into Riverbank. And I think that should kind of reflect the contract that we do have with Opportunity Stanislaus, that our desire to prioritize small businesses. Maybe we should look a little bit deeper into the MO into the contract and make sure a portion of that is helping the SBDC, since they're housed there also. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
Okay, so I sit on the Public Safety Committee with the League of California Cities. And our discussion on Friday was mostly about retail theft. And so legislation has been proposed about new penalties, looking at, the $950 worth of goods is a misdemeanor. So looking at just changing that. And then the aggregation, the value of different thefts committed in the past 3 years. Also to increase penalties on that. And then to extend the organized retail theft statute sunset date until 2031. And then to look at multiple jurisdictions because, people commit a crime in this city, commit a crime in this city, commit a crime in this city. So they're looking at just trying to tie all that together. So our committee decided just to watch because there's just so many bills that are out there right now and everybody has totally different, thoughts about it. And does it really go down to what's going on with Prop 47, which started all this in the first place? So we just decided to watch and to see, what is going to happen with Prop 47 too. And then happy Easter, everybody. I think that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had just one comment and it's just kind of tagging along with strategic planning thing. I just remember being brand new council member years ago. And I remember thinking, how in the heck do they get anything done? You got 5 people up there and with this Brown Act, you can't talk to anybody. It's like, what do you do? So, and I'm sharing this because one, I can, and two, I just wanted to kind of get out there for me what strategic planning meant. And I remember going to the very first strategic planning that I went to, and it was all the department chairpersons there and all of us council members and mayors, and it was open to the public, and there were 1 or 2 people there from the public. And when we sat down, and I think the biggest thing I remember was coming to some consensus. And I remember the lady talking about consensus and what consensus meant. And it was just really powerful to sit there and go, aha, this is how they do it. They have a plan. So it was just really eye-opening for me. So some of my emotion and enthusiasm for a strategic plan really kind of drives home with me because I feel like it kind of gets all of us on the same page and you get on this bus that's going down the road and you can get some stuff done. And I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Mayor. And
Thank you.
happy Easter.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. All right. This goes to a couple of public comments that was made over the last 3 or 4 times. I can speak about that, correct? Because one individual kind of pointed at us saying that, if you don't agree with him, you are doing something nefariously, and we are not. Because we don't agree with somebody does not necessarily mean we're evil or they're evil. Okay, it's a difference of opinion on how directions go forward. And so I kind of took offense a little bit the last 3 times when it was just pointed out, you're doing something wrong, you're in a pocket, or however they phrased it. We are not. And I know that. So I want people to understand that we're going to have a difference of opinion, and there's going to be a difference of opinion. And then we move on wherever those opinions take us. One of the things I want people to also understand that we're not in an inflationary process period, but your grocery bill's at 20% higher than they were 6 months ago. Your homes, if you look online, Riverbank has 17 homes on the market. Most of them are in the high 400s and the high 500,000s. And so we do not have the inventory that people believe we do. And we're not growing because we have no inventory. So as we move forward, we'll be talking more and more about inventory and how we can achieve it. And I don't believe going to Nevada or someplace else to build homes will satisfy the way the city will grow. And safe route to school, which is always in our strategic plans. We have to do something different, and I believe we have to involve the chief and his forces on that. Safe route to schools can be as safe as we possibly can, but when somebody is a distracted driver, accidents can happen. And that seriously happened earlier this year. And safe routes to school, no matter what we can do, unless they're crossing the streets with automatic ballards coming on up protecting them, that's you're going to have an idiot. So in the future, I'd like to have a little bit more concerted effort. I know, Chief, I'm not telling you how to do your job, but especially while school's going in to and from, the protection of the students and the people. With that, we're going to adjourn to closed session consistent of item 13.1, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8, property 5300 Claus Road, parcels 1 and 1A, southern portions, APN 062-031-005. Agency negotiator, Marisol Garcia. City manager, property negotiator, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Real Estate Division, under negotiation, price, terms of payment, or both. At this time, anyone from the public is welcome to speak on this item for 3 minutes before we go to closed session. Seeing no public comment, we adjourn the closed session.
Great evening. I appreciate all of you guys.
The city council and the LRA meetings are reconvened. Reporting on item 14.1, report from closed session, conference with real property negotiators. Direction has been provided to staff. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Have a happy Easter.